Hey everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Thank you again so much for joining me here. Quick update on ICP. We can see this resistance at $10 is holding fairly strong. We want to take a look at the correlation between Bitcoin and ICP, see where we're at here, because we are seeing slightly higher highs and higher lows, but they're not very consistent too. And if Bitcoin is due for a correction, we may see the same thing from ICP. So just a heads up on that, we're going to be kind of looking at both sides, seeing if we want to consider a long or a short. I generally get that question daily, and I just want to make sure we address that really quick. So quick congrats though, really fast here. We got some solid profits there from Caspa, nice pump there for a good 31% on an older trade from a couple weeks ago. Near protocol again, 48% ICP, 20% that was a short, Bitcoin short 27, BNB short 18, and what, Solana short 22%. So we had pretty heavy shorts this week. We closed one long in a slight amount of red and essentially just took some solid profits. So again, congrats to our community members. I'm considering more longs at this point, but I'm waiting just for that natural pullback to occur before we decide to jump in. I don't like taking trades right at the top, and now that liquidity has been swept for Bitcoin at 69K, there's a solid chance we will see further downside for Bitcoin this weekend. I don't think it's substantial, but I do think 68 to 67K is probable. So with all that in mind, we can kind of recognize that ICP has some areas to the downside as well that could also be swept. Now, you could argue we're at like a double or triple top right now with the current price action for ICP. And if we zoom in, we'll be able to see that. I'll talk about that in a minute. But for the moment, we can see still 922 to 933 heavy concentration of liquidation there. It is roughly about 48 million. May not sound like a lot, but that is for ICP. However, most coins actually have a lot more liquidation. But the key takeaway here is between $7.80 and $9 is just a large amount of liquidation still. We are starting to see some shorts forming here too, so the price could still definitely increase, but that $10 barrier has to be broken first. So let's look at the daily time frame, see what's going on. So first of all, overextensions. Let's double check this here. We do take a look at TD sequential. We hit a 9 recently. We've been kind of ranging between roughly low 9s and upper 1075. So the range that we're in right now is all well and good, but until we break it, we don't really know which direction we're going to head, right? The key takeaway here is that we're at a 9 TD sequential roughly a week ago. That's since been reset. But if you look at Bitcoin, it's still continuing higher highs, higher lows. A lot of smaller time frame indicators letting us know that a reversal would make sense. Okay. Now, that in conjunction with ICP running sideways leads me to believe this barrier at $10 will not give up, and we're more likely to see the price go down than up. Again, just based on that sentiment. However, we want to look at other things too. We're getting closer to 50 in the RSI, which generally can be a bouncing point. So the longer we stay in this range, the more likely the price is to break to the upside for ICP. Money flow index is high, but if money flow index is high and we cannot get through resistance, what good is that, right? That just implies that there's equal amount of selling pressure. We do see the MACD. We're also acknowledging the fact that we are descending in this trend, and there's more likelihood for the price action to break down than up. All that being said, the 4-hour time frame, when we look at that, this will kind of give us more confirming factors, because the daily, we want to kind of take that with a grain of salt in most cases. But we can summarize that the daily time frame is still in decent shape. It's just not great. In fact, I forgot to acknowledge the simple moving averages on the daily time frame. To clarify, we are over the 20 and the 50. Those are very important things to be above. We've broken our descending trend line. Still more potential for upside on the daily if you kind of look at it as a whole, right? When we look at the 4-hour time frame, we can recognize that we're under 50 on the RSI. We've been jumping above and below that, so that doesn't really matter too much. MACD is starting to diverge, of course, as per usual, when you fail to break a resistance level. We do take a look at this here. This is somewhat of a triple top, okay? Again, more likelihood to break down because of that. Once more, the more you test a resistance level, the more likely it is to break too, so there's that as well. But again, this in combination with Bitcoin likely retracing a little bit, and just how well Bitcoin has been doing and how poorly ICP is doing, if ICP cannot cross this $10 threshold, then we're going to probably see the price pull back to that lower liquidation level. Again, at this point here, we're testing the 20 and the 50-day SMA, kind of hanging down below them. That's generally unfavorable, being under 50 in the RSI. A second stochastic swing to the downside on the stochastic RSI in the 4-hour. Those are all generally unfavorable signs. Let's take a quick look at the hourly and kind of wrap it up here for you folks. We can see quickly to note that with us being fairly range bound, there's a lot of false positives here. Okay, the simple way to understand it is that being above the cloud, generally a positive, being below is negative. In this case, it's really hard to say because it's starting to compress. So when you do compress, a lot of times the price action is more likely to break down. So again, since we derived from the upside, let's go ahead and copy this here, just kind of give you perspective. We're in this range, right, this channel, so to speak, roughly from $9.50 upwards of $10. We originally came from that top side here. So what do you think we're going to do? Do you think we're just going to shoot up here? No, that's not how it generally works. Generally, you see the price action break down when you work into a channel of this sort. Okay, so again, you could draw out a lot of different potential play out charts here. But again, if you do take a look at the chart patterns, let's see here, I think it is a, we got the triple bottom, if you will, triple top, but we are in a bearish rectangle where these do have a pretty high probability of breaking down. Again, you typically see a retest multiple times. Now this could be the wrong pattern. Honestly, you could probably go through here and say there's like 3 or 4 different patterns that are looking similar. But once more, just the way that $10 even is holding us such a strong support resistance level, concurrent with Bitcoin having swept that liquidation level and more likely to pull back moving forward. I don't know. My money's on ICP coming down just to sweep that lower level of liquidity. It may not be a massive drop, but I would say a good 4% drop down to the 930/920 range would make sense based on this local area of, I guess you could say this is local area of support, but it's also a local area of heavy liquidation that's more likely to get swept than the price to recover to the upside. Only thing that would push ICP to the upside at this point is if Bitcoin makes a run towards 70K and breaks that level. If that happens, then you simply close your short, flip to a long for ICP because we've broken through that K level resistance. Those are just generally things that I'm going to be looking for here moving forward. So I hope that made sense and I described that correctly. Deeply appreciate you watching and learning. Make sure you join us over on Twitter, Telegram, Discord, YouTube, TikTok, whatever medium works best for you. I provide all of my playout charts here and give you best practice, obviously. Last thing too you want to check out, ICP is traded on this exchange with high regard to BitUnix, phenomenal exchange. We use them for over a year now. And I can tell you they've been phenomenal to our community. No KYC or VPN required. And they have like hedge mode and a lot of other cool options too, as my day traders appreciate. I hope you all have a good one though. Thanks again so much for your time. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.